Make us aware. I gotta go with all this hope.
There seems to be good evidence that global warming is happening, and there seems to be some evidence that it's anthropogenic, meaning that it has some, or at least some amount of human causation behind it.
It is causing a gradual, slow increase in global temperatures and a gradual melting of the ice caps and alpine glaciers, and humans are going to start feeling some massive side effects of that within the next couple hundred years.
There were some days I could see all of downtown, the skyline, and there's other days where I couldn't see to the end of my street. But a lot of people don't pay a lot of attention to it. And a lot of people don't understand that a lot of the symptoms that they think are colds are really new allergies because of this bad air. They don't always realize that, so they do tend to not take it seriously.
Global warming is the rising of temperature on the Earth's surface. It is when our air is filled with so many greenhouse gases that it is actually making our ozone thinner and thinner. Because of this lack of protection, solar radiation passes through the clear atmosphere and is absorbed by the Earth's surface.
People don't understand global warming. Every time we have a cold spell, they say, oh, global warming, what a joke. What global warming means is that there are just small incremental changes in global average temperature over time. And these can be very small changes that can have large impacts, and we're seeing that happen.
These changes that have taken thousands of years are now happening within decades. Global snow cover is melting, and massive glaciers worldwide are melting quickly.
Conditions in different parts of the world are changing. The climates are changing in different parts of the world, and all this is having an impact. We can try to ignore it if we want to, but it's having an impact.
Waters from these ice caps flow to the sea as the ocean water warms and expands. Densely populated cities like New York, Bangkok, Shanghai, and Tokyo are mostly at risk. To prolong this, we need to reduce our emission of greenhouse gases.
Oh, it's everything. So, yeah, it's our cars, it's our industries, it's our agricultural practices, and everybody can go ahead and point fingers, but we're all participating. And it's very convenient to blame industry, for example, and say, well, see, it's not my fault, it's that dirty factory over there. But then we all turn around and buy the products from that factory, so we're all equally guilty.
Especially being in this valley, one of the big causes of air pollution has to do with dairy farms and the ag industry with pesticides being sprayed and all those things. So,
Methane pollution from cows, from cow butts, basically, is a big greenhouse gas and even more dangerous greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide, although it's less abundant, obviously.
And I know that the dairy industry and beef industry, to a lesser extent, it's more difficult for them, are trying to tap into actually using those gases as a resource, which is interesting.
Greenhouse gases consist of water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and ozone. There are also many human-caused ways that these gases are let out.
Humans are increasing greenhouse gases into the atmosphere.
we should try to find ways to reduce those emission of greenhouse gases. Yes, they may be a little costly in the short run, but in the long run, our health is more important.
For an industry or agriculture, the ways to reduce may be costly, but there are also obvious ways to conserve energy, as well as to try and reduce the flow of gases.
Carpooling.
Turning off lights at home.
They can help by using public transportation, bicycling, and what have you, but it's a community-wide problem ultimately. Everybody's home in the summer here, it's 115 out, and they've got their AC cranked so that it's 65 inside, or vice versa in the winter.
It's a lot easier to put on a few more clothes and save the energy than to run the HVAC or air conditioning unit or heating unit. Different things, you can just put on some extra clothes. That saves energy. You
can save a big money. I changed my thermostat in the summer just a couple of degrees, and my energy bill went down about $100 a month.
Did you know that when an incandescent light bulb, only 10% of the electricity used is turned into light, the other 90% is pure heat. Also, a PC monitor left on overnight wastes enough energy to laser print 800 sheets of paper. And that every minute a refrigerator door is open, it will take 3 minutes to regain its temperature. The recommended temperature for a refrigerator is 37 to 40 degrees Fahrenheit, and keeping it colder wastes energy.
Driving big lifted trucks is another obvious way. Big like F-150s and things, or motorhomes. Those are obvious wastes of energy when they could just as easily buy a compact car and get twice or 3 times the gas mileage. I think that's a obvious waste of energy, personally.
These decisions and sacrifices we make can enrich our lives, let alone the future of our society.
We tend to be a society that tends to focus on the now. We don't like to focus on the future. If you have children and they're planning to have children, we need to be a little broader, more broader than this, because yes, it allows businesses to maintain higher profit by not putting in all these scrubbers and things that reduce the emission, but in the long run we'll end up paying for it through health costs or illnesses with our children. We need to be looking long term. In an industrialized nation, we need to be looking long term.
If the result of awareness of this is that we do start to conserve resources, become more energy efficient and so on, that's a good outcome regardless. So it's at least something for people to be thinking about and talking about, and it gets them thinking about other issues like resource use.
Will have a negative impact on the whole ecosystem because it is just one big organism. If you abuse it, it does damage someplace. You may not see it right away, but in the long term there will be an effect.
So wealth. The northern countries of the world, Northern Europe and North America, control most of the world's wealth in Far East Asia. But the places that are suffering from global warming the most are in the tropics, like the Sahel region of Africa right here, south of the Sahara Desert. Places like if a monsoon were to fail in India, that would cause a massive calamity. You know, desertification in the tropics linked to global warming, things like that. So yeah, I think global warming is very real and very scary. And sadly, the places that are going to suffer the most from global warming are also the places that are contributing the least to global warming.
I'm jazzed about recycling. I think recycling has come a long way.
Recycling is very important.
Recycling is a way of conserving resources.
One of the great things about Fresno is that we are one of the #1 towns for recycling in the U.S. Everybody likes to bag on Fresno, but actually we have an outstanding recycling program here.
We use materials that we currently use.
Reducing the impact on the environment.
It's very easy for me to recycle or compost almost all of the household waste that I have, and sometimes I don't even throw out any regular garbage.
There are many organizations that you can be a part of, or simple actions you can do to help the cause. There are clubs, retail stores with reusable bags rather than plastic, throwing bottles in the right bin, reusing materials rather than tossing them, being aware of what can be recycled, or even walking or riding a bike prior to driving. All of these and more can help build a unity and a step towards a healthier society.
Small planet, can't get materials forever, so this is going to be the way to go.
It just doesn't make good sense. We need to be very aware that these things will not always be in high supply. We need to protect them.
Have you seen the movie WALL-E, where the whole planet is buried in trash, and he's got a little trash compactor robot, and it looks like a skyline, and then the camera pans in, and it's actually a skyline made of compacted garbage. So that's maybe a little extreme, but maybe not. It's really just a simple solution for a better future.